morning. Had a nightmare, and as I was pondering the point of the nightmare, I was reminded that back when my children were little, they'd mentioned to me about the boogeyman, or someone hiding under their bed or in their closet, or so on and so forth, and ghosts and different things that little minds can conjure with their beautiful imaginations. And as I was trying to be a good parent, I was inspired to say to them how much I love them, and that not to worry, because there's nothing in the nighttime that isn't there in the daytime, which is 100% true. However, that wasn't being deceptive, and I wasn't trying to, blow them off. I was simply trying to put their mind at ease. And the discrepancy is that burglars, rapists, horrific, cowardly people do tend to commit their crimes at night, when they can hide in the shadows and lurk and stalk and do all of the things that cowards will do, including, ganging up and assaulting people, physical assaults. Most of that type of stuff is done by cowards and people seeking power. But I didn't bother to go into those details with my children. I just simply said to them that there is nothing in the nighttime that is not there during the daytime. And hopefully they drew from that to be at peace. When I woke up this morning from my nightmare, it occurred to me I was dreaming that I was house sitting for an old friend of mine. This was, I think, back in the 60s or mid 70s. So I was probably a late teen, mid-teen, and they had a problem with peeping Tom, and I was aware of it. They didn't, try to intimidate me or freak me out, but they did make me aware that there was a peeping Tom, or they suspected. They'd never seen him or her or it. But in my dream, the peeping Tom was there, and so was the person I was house sitting for. And I was sleeping on the couch, and there was a dog, a German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd became uneasy, so I kind of sat up on the sofa and I looked, and I could see something lurking in the distance, like across the lawn. And the neighborhood was such that it was probably 50, 75, maybe 100 yards to the next neighbor's house. So there wasn't really anything like a light background that would give me, an image. But there was a shadowy feeling, like an eerie feeling. And I said to myself, I'd better check this out. And the dog, kind of settled down when I woke up, and in the dream. And I went to the windows, and I just kind of said, well, we'll draw the shades, and that way they'll have nothing and they'll move on. As the dream progressed, the dog was uneasy again. And after a fashion, the dog went ape shit. Just, and I mean, it went like a motorboat. And it's like, oh, what's going on? And I called the dog, and the dog kind of had its hackles up, and it came to me, but it circled back to like face off against whatever it was that it was imagining or actually saw. And There were guns in the house. I didn't have one handy, but a friend of mine uh, showed up. His name, childhood friend. His name was Chuck, and Chuck goes, "Hey, it's okay. I got this." So he goes and he grabs one of the guns. It's a pistol, and he puts it down. And I said, "Well, the person that I thought I saw was across the lawn, out back," and he puts the pistol down, grabs a rifle. And it was like a Mauser, like a World War I Mauser, and jacks around in it, and he starts walking for the window. We put the curtain up, and he starts to, you know, put the window up, and he's like gonna put the muzzle out the window, and I go, "Well, but Chuck, there's houses back there," and he thought better of that. And as soon as he put the rifle down, the dog went bananas again. Only this time, whatever it was in the house, and I felt it. I could feel this like really intense excitement of fear. And it's like, oh no. We opened the window and let it in. And it was interesting because the dog, we'll call him Barney, Barney came shooting back into where we were. I called him, "Barney!" And he came in, but he would not let whatever it was get beyond him. He kept his back toward us, and he was just like, he was going to tear this thing up. But he was scared too. Barney was scared too. And when I got a glimpse of this entity or this being, they had a mask on, just black. Couldn't really see eyes. It was just like this dark, slender image. Like it was humanoid. And it's like, holy crap. What do we do? I mean, we can't. And Chuck's going, well, this is Maine. We can shoot that son of a bitch. And it's like, well, it attacked. And I hit the thing, right? And it just kind of recoiled a little bit. And Barney wasn't about to bite it. I think Barney knew this was horrible. And thinking about this dream, what I had told my kids was accurate. There wasn't anything during the nighttime that wasn't there in the daytime. But these cowards, they make their appearance at night because they're protected or less likely to be caught because they've got shadows that they can lurk in and dodge and dive into and duck out of sight. And Barney was a protective dog. He really, German Shepherd, he was beefy. And this thing, I ended up killing it anyway. And I woke up before I got a chance to see exactly what it was. But it was fear, And it isn't that fear comes out at night. Fear comes when we are at our weakest. In my life right now, I'm at the weakest I've ever been. And I'm getting older, my joints are aching. I've been 310 pounds, beefy, fat, big guy all of my life, and haven't really been intimidated by much or very often. But that nightmare kind of brought me back to the reality of, sometimes things don't always work out, and not always in your favor anyway. They'll work out eventually, but not always in your favor. But I was just brought to reflect on what I had said to my children as they were wee ones. There's nothing there in the nighttime that wasn't there in the daytime. And that includes ghosts and goblins and skinwalkers and all that stuff. And yeah, skinwalkers do exist, but during the daylight, they look like you and me. They are human beings. They've just made a deal with the devil, and they can shapeshift, if you will. And they can take on a whole new image, like a cat or a dog or something that looks natural. But anyway, yeah, freaky story. I love you all. Have a good night.